So this is trail day number 59. It is Thursday, August the 13th, 2020. Around 10:45 in the morning. I stayed last night at the Lake Griffiths tenting area. It's just a loop, and then they have like wooden tent pads. It was quite busy here last night. I got here just before dark, and there was one tent pad open. And of course everybody's gone already, except for there's a family here that's still here, but they may be staying a few days, I don't know. I'm going to stroll up here to the lake access and look at the lake. They have a nice fire pit. Nice clear lake. Pretty cool place for camping last night. I'm not a big fan of drinking pond water, but it's clear, and I filtered it, so it tasted alright. It was nice to put in my wash bucket. Oh, it was good and warm, so I had warm water to wash off with. I'm probably going to do like 10 miles today. Take it easy. My chafing around the waist is getting better, but the terrain's looks to be fairly level. And there's another lake tinning that's about 10 miles away, so I'm going to make that my goal for today. The trail's been fairly flat and rolling since we left the lake. It's about 2 miles back. And now we're climbing up to Baker's Peak. It has a bad weather bypass, but the weather's good, so we'll climb some rocks. This kind of rock's not too bad. It's at least got a rough surface to give you some traction. And a little bit of a view. Probably get a better one from the top, so we'll check. It's a nice view today. But we're still not quite to the top. We gotta climb this. Oh, a cool breeze, so nice. It got quite cold last night. Had to zip my sleeping bag up almost all the way to get warm. And then usually when I do that, I have to unzip it a little while later. But when I got up this morning, I was still zipped up. But I was getting a little warm this morning because the temperature had warmed up. I think we should be almost to the top. So we made it to the top, or at least I believe so. Actually had a better view from that last spot. That wasn't too bad. The blazing's kind of bad. But yep, on the peak itself, not much of a view. Yep, if we'd have took the bad weather route, it would have just been a nice little trail to here. This, I've noticed, happens a lot with through hikers by this point, or the ones that started in Georgia. They'll just take the blue blaze around. It's kind of like they've climbed enough mountains they don't want to climb anymore. I might feel the same way when I get 1,600 miles, but as of right now, I'll go over the top. I think if I got to feeling that way though, I'd just go home. Not sure what's going on there. I guess the bug is eating the worm. It kind of looked like a tick kind of bug to start with, but then I was like, no, that's not a tick. And we've had a bunch of these worms hanging around. But the terrain's been downhill like this. Quite nice. I hear a water crossing coming up, so I'm probably going to stop there for a lunch break. It's a little after 1. I think I'm probably about halfway done with the day already. I don't know, I hadn't checked my reference lately. But it's been lovely terrain today. Vermont has been a very nice state for hiking. Alright, well, take a break. I changed my mind. We should be getting close to the Lost Pond shelter. So I'll take a break somewhere around there. That water was dark with tannin, so maybe the shelter has a clean spring. Like all this water's got some kind of milky, murky. Not all water sources are created equal. The gnats have been horrible today. It's like a cloud of them hanging out in front of your nose. So we made it to the Lost Pond shelter. It was not very far at all. And I think this is the same creek we crossed just a little bit ago. So we'll take a break here. Hornets on bridge, run. I don't think I'm gonna run. I bet this thing can get raging sometimes. Didn't see any hornets. No telling how long it's been on there. Says the same thing, hornets ahead, run. We've got like, I don't know, 3 miles to go, something like that. The trail from the Lost Pond shelter has been pretty much like what it is right now. It's downhill, and typical couple muddy spots here or there. Some trees down. Wonder what that was. It's definitely not natural. May have been some kind of meal or something. Got some nice little pools in that river, or stream, or whatever you want to call it. But so far, which tomorrow I'll start getting into some uphill Go over another 4,000-foot mountain in the next day or so. But Vermont has just been a wonderful state to hike through. Even though it's muddy in places, it has not been bad. I'm sure certain times of the year the mud gets pretty rough, but the worst thing about it, the mud, is it just fills up the tread on your shoes. So then you go to step on a rock or a root and your foot keeps going. So you have to be aware of that. This is the Roaring Branch shelter. I didn't know we were that close. It would be an alright shelter, right in front of the river. It's Big Branch shelter in the AWOL guide. So we have 3 miles left to go to the Little Rock Pond shelter. And it's 3:45. So the earliest I've gotten to camp in a long time. But there's nothing wrong with that. You get to camp early, get everything taken care of early, hopefully go to bed and go to sleep early, and then get up early. And we'll see if all that works out. Since tomorrow's got a lot of uphill, getting up early would be a good thing. I imagine parts of the trail like this would just be horrible to try to navigate during heavy rains. So we came up the road just a little bit to a parking area, and then we followed the trail up. It's crossed over to this creek. Probably have about a mile to get to the shelter. There were several cars in the parking lot. I know I met a couple of people going the opposite way. It's Thursday night, so hopefully this shelter and tenting area will not be full. But we should get there early enough that if it is, we can move on to something else. There's another creek coming that way. So, it's 2 days, 10-mile days in Vermont. It has just been super easy terrain. So I've ran into a bunch of day hikers going the opposite way. So probably accounts for a lot of the vehicles in the parking lot. And I can see a lake on the horizon. So this one has a caretaker. And it says it's a fee, like $5. But the other place had a fee. And the AWOL, and not one in reality. So we'll see how this goes. See if we can't find a awesome spot beside this lake and set up camp.